This is Ray in Los Angeles. Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with Blake, Zach, Justin, and Josh. Browns are back. All right.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Dawgs. Remember to head to thedawgspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu to get your intro on the show. That was a pretty awesome intro. I didn't know the Backstreet Boys were calling into the show. I didn't know they were big Browns fans.
Yeah, neither did I.
So that was pretty awesome. As you can see, we got some new headphones for the show, so if we're messing with them the entire episode, it's because we're still getting used to them. I'm not used to having these things in my ears. I feel like Tom Tucker. That's a Family Guy reference. Okay. Okay. Where was I? Browns wrapped up an undefeated preseason last night. Some starters actually saw action, so we're going to get into that. We'll give you our thoughts on the game as well as some bold predictions for the season. Before we get into that, remember to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Our TikTok game's actually really gotten better since we first started, so make sure to check that out. Took us a little getting used to. You know, we're a couple old men, but we're figuring it out.
Got to play around with these. All right, never mind.
Yeah, don't say that.
Caught myself.
If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure to tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, do us a favor. Drop us a review, preferably 5 stars. It helps us out. Lastly, if you're looking for more Browns content as we head into the regular season, remember to head to jointhedawgs.com to become an official Dog Pack member. The fantasy leagues are officially all full, and we're excited to get that going. We apologize if you missed out this year, but we had to cut it off at some point. We're going to do it again next year. Maybe we got 2 10-team leagues this year. Maybe next year we'll have 4 10-team leagues. You know, we'll get a little crazy. See how the next year goes. Thanks to everybody who's joined. If you're not in the fantasy leagues, doesn't mean you won't enjoy the Patreon. We have a lot of extra content on there. It's a ton of fun for everyone involved so far. We got threads on the Patreon. We got text groups. It's pretty crazy.
Yep, it is. It's pretty awesome.
You can shout out to the Patreon. Everybody in there is super cool. Katie, hopefully you had fun at your concert last night. So I think it's pretty cool that we know she was at a concert.
Yeah, and I would say real quick, speaking of concerts and our intro, what were you guys, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Neither, bro. Like, I was listening to, like, Korn and Limp Bizkit. Okay. I was very anti.
You're too old.
Justin's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, between the two, who are you going, though?
I think Justin Timberlake's got some good music, so I'm saying I'd lean on that.
See, when I was a kid, I liked Backstreet Boys more because they were harder.
Okay.
You mean like street cred?
I'm not gonna lie. NSYNC had their concert on Disney Channel, and I taped that and I watched it like every.
I would have been.
Day.
I Backstreet Boys for me.
Josh, I was Backstreet Boys as well, actually. Yeah,
I really was.
It's really awesome, guys.
Not into this girly NSYNC type of guy.
No, but then I was happy that I didn't stay in that boy band phase long. I was real young.
I mean Britney Spears, right?
Yeah,
and Christina. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But then I graduated, to some cooler music, hopefully, and I haven't looked back.
Don't let Blake fool you. He probably still, when it comes on, he doesn't turn it off.
Yeah.
It comes on as, Sirius radio. He just lets it play.
The hits.
I don't understand why this is always coming on every time I turn my truck on.
If my truck starts.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's fair.
Well, we got a little off course there, but we did have a game last night. Browns hung on to win 19-10 in their final preseason game, undefeated. Last time we went undefeated in the preseason, I believe we went 0-16. So let's hope that doesn't happen again.
Hey, we're just chasing down the Ravens in their record that they've won 20 straight. Yeah. That's crazy.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So, some starters actually played last night, including Baker Mayfield. So I think this was an important game. I know I wanted to see some starters for a little bit. Some people were on the fence saying they didn't want to see him, didn't want to risk anybody getting hurt. I was surprised to see Kareem Hunt, even though it was only for a drive, but he ran the ball well in the one drive he was in. I do think it was super important that some of the starters went out there and played, though, because the first drive, even though we moved the ball, it was not as crisp as I wanted to see. Baker had 2 balls batted down. I think he was 2 of 4 on the drive, and then we ended up not getting any points. And Coach Stefanski came out and said that once we got in the red zone, it was intentionally vanilla, the play calling, because you're not trying to give anything away. But the second drive was way cleaner. So I'm happy that they went out and played a couple drives to shake that rust off. I didn't want to have that rusty drive against the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't like, and I think we were kind of in agreement. We have our text group chat now with the Patreon members. So if you're not part of that, it's a good time, during games, being able to talk to everybody on that. And there was kind of displeasure through everybody about the batted balls that were kind of happening because we were like, oh, here we go. It was one. I think they were almost back to back.
They were within a couple plays of each other.
Yeah, and we're like, man, because he literally threw it right at the only guy that was in front of him. So that was, and then they actually did that to a couple of the Case Keenum throws later on in the game. So it's one of those things that either Atlanta was working on it or we weren't thinking that they were going to get their hands on the football. But first drive, we went right down the field. I think it was Hooper had the huge play.
Yeah, the guys ran into each other.
Yeah, that was awesome to see him, back in Atlanta, making a big play.
He looked athletic on that too. He looked quick going down the sideline.
Yeah, so it was definitely exciting to see some of the starters out there, but I'm kind of glad that it wasn't a long stay where they were out there, into the second quarter or something, because we just saw J.K. Dobbins go down, and then in your mind, you're kind of thinking, please don't happen to us.
Yeah. No, it was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to just see a drive or two just to shake the rust off, look crisp, and then get out. And that's it. That's exactly what we did. Baker went in, 2 drives, second drive was perfect, 4-4, beautiful touchdown pass to Hodge. That's a play that if Aaron Rodgers makes that throw, they don't stop talking. It's on ESPN nonstop. They don't stop talking about it, but it's Baker, so nobody talks about it. Drew Brees was impressed, though. I don't know if you guys heard on the broadcast.
Drew Brees was impressed, yeah, and I was impressed. For all the flack we've gotten recently, I feel like, on social media about Baker Mayfield and everything, that throw right there just shows what he's capable of doing. He's a step back, just kind of floating one out there, perfectly accurate, right where it needed to be for the receiver.
Yeah, off-balance guy in his face. And that's pure arm strength, too, because he couldn't step into that throw. I'm so sick of hearing about this, how he has a mediocre arm. Baker's got a cannon.
Baker has the second longest throw ever clocked by PFF since 2006 at 70 yards in the air.
Yeah.
Last year, Hail Mary.
The dude can – I don't understand where this came from.
I don't know either.
That he doesn't have a strong arm.
Right, yeah. So in that one, I liked how on the broadcast, they kind of referred to it as a fadeaway jumper.
Right.
That he was falling out of bounds and just threw it up. It was perfect, right on the money. It was either Hodge was catching it or he wasn't. And it was almost kind of a similar throw and play call that they tried on the 4th down when they were going for it. He threw it to Hodge. I think it was Hodge again. Going to the left pylon to try to get that touchdown on the first drive and just wasn't able to connect with him there. And this is Baker making that throw. That's not his game, really. It hasn't been his game. In college, he didn't play action, roll out to the left and bootleg. None of that happened. And I think it's just a credit to what Stefanski's been able to get him comfortable with doing, because now we could argue it's the best part of his game.
Yeah, I was surprised that in the pregame broadcast they were talking about how in college he never did that.
Yeah.
He wasn't a play-action boot passer. He was a 5-wide gunslinger, from the pocket. And then he comes to the NFL and he becomes the best rollout passer in the league, essentially.
Yeah, so, another question. So it was the first time we've seen Baker in action. Do you think he looked a little slimmed down this year? I thought he looked a little better.
I thought he was slimmed down last year. It was 2 years ago with Freddie, where it looked like it almost looked like you were out there playing quarterback. And, he was definitely not in game shape the year Freddie was here.
When last night, it looked like almost college Baker to me of seeing him on the field, where he just looked like that athletic guy that could extend a play and wasn't going to get ran down by a nose guard.
Well, and the thing is that looked like college Baker too wasn't a physical thing. It was just his confidence that you saw come out of him, because that's what we've been hearing out of camp this whole time is, well, Baker's got command of the offense. He's got control. He's in control. Well, we haven't seen it except for when we went up to training camp and stuff. And it's practice, so it's really hard to really gauge what exactly is going on. But in that game last night, it was okay, he knows what he's doing. He's confident. He just looks locked in.
Yeah,
Right.
what was he, 6 of 10?
6 of 10 for over like $113. Had a touchdown. We didn't run the ball very much, but we really haven't ran the ball a ton in preseason. I feel like
I think the Browns are going to throw the ball more than people think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
You might be right about that.
Using Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to their full extent of their abilities is going to add to that, obviously. I don't think we're saying that we don't want to get Nick Chubb the ball, because obviously we do. But, I mean, passing game-wise, we got a lot of weapons. We saw Schwartz got that pass interference. Like, even though that doesn't show up in the stat book of Schwartz had a 40-yard catch, I mean, it was a 40-yard play because of the penalty.
And I know he had at least one catch.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't see what stat line. I kind of wanted to see him play a little bit more than, or at least be targeted, be used a little bit more. I want to know what we got in the guy. I just don't want to know that he's just a burner and we're going to throw it over the top every time. I want to see him get his hands on the ball and make something happen, too.
I think we're going to have wrinkles for him that we just aren't showing in the preseason. I think he's going to get an end around, that kind of thing, a jet.
Yeah, and he hasn't been healthy either.
True.
All
That's true.
preseason.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that I love is we've seen Felton, and we know Felton is a beast.
He's a dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
That dude can play football.
Oh my gosh.
He's looking now. We thought JOK was the steal of the draft. I think a big reason why Felton might not be in that conversation is just because, is he going to get the opportunity? As good as he's been in the preseason, he's still not going to play over Jarvis or Odell or Chubb or Higgins or Hunt. So he's going to have limited opportunity. But next year after, we could be talking about that guy is like, I can't believe we got that guy so late.
Well, him and DPJ could be out there 6-round picks being stud receivers for us.
Yeah, so we're getting to that point of the season's literally right around the corner. Mm-hmm. And are we a little bit worried that Higgins has been hurt all preseason long?
Here's the thing: is if he doesn't get healthy, DPJ is going to play, and DPJ is probably going to show out.
And maybe Higgins doesn't get his spot back.
And Higgins will be phased out, and it'll just because he can't stay. I've said it on here, and people say the best ability is dependability. You have to be healthy. You have to be dependable. We have to be able to depend on you to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him. I mean,
is he severely injured, or is it we're just not going to push it in the preseason injured?
And if he's playing, his chemistry with Baker is good enough that he just always gets open. I think he'll be fine.
A couple things I saw last night. Baker looked really good, and I know Hodge played in DPJ and stuff like that. Still no Odell and still no Jarvis. So we've yet to see Baker with his two main guys.
Yeah.
And DPJ and Hodge are good. There's a huge jump between them and Odell and Jarvis.
Two guys that have been doing it for a while now in the NFL at a high level.
Yeah. So we've yet to see him with his two guys. I'm very excited for that. Noah Njoku.
Well, he was out there.
He was there. He was out the first series, and that was about it.
He just didn't.
Yeah, he didn't get any targets.
I mean, Toxin Camper, he might have a bigger season than we thought, 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think that he's probably the fact that he's buying into Cleveland. He came out and he fired his agent to stay in Cleveland because his agent was probably like, "Hey man, you're nuts. You can go start for somebody else. Here you're kind of second fiddle with. They got Austin Hooper. They can't pay you what they're paying him, type of a thing. But he's athletic and he's always been the guy that was he was a talk of being a steal in the draft. We got him. So it's just about.
Can you steal somebody in the first round?
I mean, I think about it, that position. Yes, I mean, I think that he was brought in to be a Kyle Pitts type tight end. Now, Kyle Pitts last night made one catch, and broadcast was in love with him. And then I don't think he played the rest. But which weird, he doesn't look like a tight end at all.
No, he very much looks like a big receiver.
Two different types of tight ends. Njoku's a big, physical-looking tight end compared to a wide receiver. Calvin Johnson was a bigger wide receiver than what Kyle Pitts is a tight end.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I took away last night, Dearness Johnson is very good. Would probably be a 2 rotational player that gets a decent amount of touches every week if he wasn't on the Browns.
If we cut Dearness Johnson right now, Atlanta, I would have to pick him up.
Yeah, because they have no run game.
Right? I mean, a team like Atlanta at least would have to.
You know what happened is they'll go to Baltimore.
All out.
I heard some rumblings that Todd Gurley is on the radar.
Good, go ahead.
Well, then I saw after that though that they said not right now.
Not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards is going to be fine in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry, but JK, I was a little sad that, because I like JK.
No,
Dobbins.
I'm a JK Dobbins fan, but
It couldn't happen to a better team.
nicer fan base.
Guys suck.
But no, I do feel bad for We're all JK Dobbins fans, I think. So
Absolutely.
It sucks that he got hurt, but then again, you wouldn't feel bad for us.
This is very true.
So, where was I?
I mean, I'll help you out here.
Yeah,
if we're going to talk about guys that might get cut with like Dearness Johnson, what about Hodge? Because all he does is ball out all preseason for us.
So we're not going to.
He might get cut.
We're not going to speculate too much right now because there's a chance that by the time this episode comes out, it's already done.
Yeah, because
the roster cuts already.
I've been seeing like cuts being made by teams like sporadically throughout the day, so it's like
they're not like just waiting till the last minute to throw them out there.
Right.
Like the big names might be, because the deadline is obviously
4 p.m. tomorrow.
4 p.m. on Tuesday. So
it's now 6 p.m. on Monday for those of you guys listening. So we're 24 hours behind the trade deadline.
Yeah, so obviously I don't want to see Hodge go. I hope that next time when we're talking about who was cut, that his name is not on the list, and we found a way to keep him around, because he is not a player that I think you're going to be able to cut and then just stash on the practice squad.
Absolutely not.
Not for what he's done and the kind of player he is. It's not like this is his first year doing it and we're just other teams have noticed it.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's certain players that, like, when you cut, obviously you can keep them around. Like Sheldrick Redwine was a notable name that was just cut, and it's saying that they're most likely signing him to the practice squad. That's big. I think, players like that you can do that with. There's others that it's just not possible.
So, 92.3 The Fan put out a list. We're not going to speculate too much. They have us keeping 6 receivers. So we'll see if this is what's true, tomorrow / today, if this episode comes out tomorrow. They got us keeping Odell, Jarvis, DPJ, Higgins, Schwartz, and KhaDarel Hodge. That's the 6 they got us keeping. And then they're considering Demetric Felton a running back. So they got us keeping Chubb Hunt, Felton, and Dearness Johnson. So that's the way I kind of see it going. And then JoJo Natson, didn't you say we cut him?
Yes, JoJo Natson.
JoJo Natson's already gone. He wasn't going to make this team. He's too much of a one-trick pony for this team. We have 3 other guys who can return the ball that also do other things that are threats on offense.
Yeah, so Redwine is gone. JoJo Natson, you just talked about. Curtis Weaver, who we did kind of an episode on, he got cut. To Gray Scales. Marvin.
Why he's cut, bro?
Marvin Wilson, a defensive tackle. Tight end Jordan Franks.
Franks got cut.
Yeah, Jordan Franks got cut, and then Kyle. Can't remember how to say his last name.
Luletta.
Yes, he's gone. So now we're down to 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Probably a guy like that, or you're going to go find somebody similar that's going to get signed.
If Luletta doesn't get signed anywhere, he'll just be on the practice squad.
Yeah, be a third guy. So,
but
that's where we're at right now.
I thought Newsom played well again last night on defense. LeCount, I think LeCount's going to make this team.
With Redwine being cut, it looks that way.
Yeah,
right.
So I think we're going to cut some players that we've seen, but I think I think Hodge is going to make it. I saw a report yesterday that said he's going to get cut, but I think he's going to make it.
So, notable name on Twitter, reporter, NFL wise, said the Browns are waiving defensive end Porter Gustin.
No.
Yeah. So that just got that. It was 8 minutes ago that it was put on Twitter.
Why would we be waiving him?
So Weaver and Gustin.
Wow. There's either another position group we're wanting to keep, or they know somebody maybe's already been cut somewhere else that they're interested in. But Porter Gustin's been a guy we've liked.
He was good in his preseason.
Yeah.
He was the third. He's first off the bench if Clowney or Miles gets hurt. In a position that I didn't think we were very deep at.
Yeah. 2 more another name at the defensive end position was Cameron Malvo. He played a lot yesterday. I think he was one of the leaders in tackles on their defensive line yesterday.
Had 2 sacks.
Yeah, so he's gone. And it's saying, there's some fans on Twitter that are saying that if they're not going to be happy if we got rid of Porter Gustin and kept McDowell, that they would rather had Gustin on the team than McDowell.
So I would say cutting those two DNs and Weaver and Gustin kind of leads me to think that they're planning to use Malik Jackson a little more like rotational edge, and they're going to keep more guys for that interior out of that group.
Jackson was starting. I mean,
at D tackle.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
that,
but
I'm
moving
saying,
him around.
I'm saying like if
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of surprising to me in the fact. Okay, so Tack McKinley, we've kind of talked about him throughout the preseason. He's been on the team, then he's been away. Now he's back, and what he's going to give you. And we talked about how Clowney was going to move around. He came out and said about guards aren't athletic. In the press this week that guards aren't. I'm going to line up and be able to go right by him, stuff like that. So how much can you move him away from one side of the ball when now you don't have, your depth that you had at that position?
I kind of like what Josh said, where if Clowney or Miles gets hurt, they'll bump Jackson out, and we're going to keep a couple extra guys and just sub in the middle. So our backup D end or OLB, however you want to call it, will be Jackson.
Yeah, because I don't know if Malik Jackson is going to be like a full-time defensive tackle just because he is older in his career. So he might be more of like for second down. Then they got these other guys that kind of fill in or maybe take a series off, That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but that's surprising with Gustin.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
I would have thought he would have stuck around. So, Browns fans, be ready. There's going to be names that are going to be cut, that you've been used to seeing the last 2-3 seasons that just.
It's a price we pay for being good.
Yeah. Well, we've got so much talent right now. It's weird.
I don't envy Andrew Berry and Stefanski because they're going to have to call people in that are good football players who've put in a lot of work and tell them that they're not going to make the team.
Bro, they put a red ticket in the locker. Come on.
I don't think that's the way it goes.
That's how it goes.
Porter Gustin kind of remind you of Carl Nassib in a way, like his play style, and then obviously we parted ways with him, and then he ended up going. I mean, I'm sure Porter Gustin's going to end up somewhere. He's going to be somewhere, and he's going to be a rotational piece that matters on somebody's defense.
Very crazy.
That was shocking. We didn't plan on talking about that.
No,
things are. I think it's going to be like that until 4 p.m. tomorrow, where it's just names are going to start dropping.
Yeah.
So, anything else from the game you guys want to hit on? Any other takeaways?
I think we pretty much hit everything that I saw last night.
All right. Well, before we move into our bold predictions, I want to tell you guys about Symbol, the stock market for sports. You can head to symbol.com/dogs, DAWGS. You'll get whatever you deposit plus $10 free for using our promo code. Essentially with Symbol, it is the stock market. If you guys have ever been on Robinhood or whatever those other apps are for trading, on the market, you buy shares of a team. The Steelers are kind of low right now, so you jump on, you buy a share of the Steelers. They come out, they win a few games in a row. People start buying in them when they peak, and then you sell them. It's legit the stock market. That's one way to win some money. Other way to win some money, you just jump on, buy a share of a team. Every team that you own a share of, if they win that week, it's an instant cash payout. You'll get paid within 10 minutes of the game being done straight into your account. So head to symbol.com/dogs. Get your $10 free. Play the stock market for sports. We're going to be on there. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you pay attention, you can win a lot of money. So, it's a kind of a cool take on like the fantasy sports betting kind of thing.
Yep. And real quick, attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity with the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code DAWGS, DAWGS. Abort your hairy balls and Buzz Lightyear your Woody with Manscaped.
Those commercials, whoever writes their ads, it's awesome.
I know. I'm reading these and I'm like, this is brilliant.
It's awesome. It's one of the reasons why we love partnering with these guys, just because they're such a fun brand and cool company to be associated with. Their ads, their marketing department's top notch.
Yes.
But so we're going to move into our bold predictions. How we're going to do this is each one of us has a bold prediction that is Browns related that we're going to give, and we're going to go around the table, give it, discuss it, and then we're going to move into a bold prediction that is more league wide. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So who wants to go first?
Not me.
All right, well, I'll kick it off here real quick with my Browns bold prediction. Are we doing just all Browns first, and then we'll do the league?
Yep.
So both of my Browns bold prediction and my league bold prediction, you're going to find out, are kind of similar the way I laid these out. But I think that Baker Mayfield in 2021 is going to be at least in the top 3 for MVP voting. I think he throws 37 touchdowns this year. I think he stays under 10 picks again. And I think we have a different conversation league-wide about Baker Mayfield next year.
Man, I mean, if Baker goes with if he has 37 touchdowns and under 10 picks, that's crazy.
How many yards are you thinking?
I'm thinking probably around 4,800.
48?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got us throwing the ball a lot.
Well, think
Lock
about
it
it.
in,
Last
he's
year,
MVP.
Last year he almost hit 4,000 last year, and that was with four games that didn't really count. He barely had any yards at all.
Right, and
Three weather
throws
games
for-
and a COVID game?
Yeah.
So if he throws for
Okay.
200 in each one of those, that's 800 extra yards.
Okay, and then right there he's at 46 last year.
yeah.
Boy, Joshua, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I do
I'm
think
feeling it.
I do think Baker has a good year, a really good year, and I do think he's in those talks because as much slight as the Browns get, there's also a lot of hype behind us, and if we start to live up to that hype early, they're going to pump it up hard, and there's going to be talks like that. So, is it a bold? I think the boldest thing you just said was 4,800 yards. You haven't scratched.
Remember, we do
The whole
have
thing's bold.
we do have 17 games this year, so there's an extra game.
This is true, but you got him scratching, itching at that 5,000.
I do.
Right, so you said 36 touchdowns.
This is 37.
37.
Yeah.
So you're talking just over 4-to-1 average, 4 touchdowns to 1 pick. That's crazy numbers for Baker. I'm all in, obviously. If that happens.
Yeah, I like it.
Do
It's just-
we
Man.
think Baker stays under 10 picks again?
stays under?
Yeah.
It is so. I remember talking about this last year before the season. It's so hard to do that, but he did it. He did it last year.
It's hard to go in super long stretches of not throwing one just because the teams are, I mean, the one he did end up throwing, it was a crazy play by the guy.
Yeah.
You know, and
Bowser.
those kinds of things happen because the guys we're playing against are so good. I think he does stay at least around the 10 mark, though. I don't see him going back to rookie year or Freddie year where he's throwing 20 interceptions. I just don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the run he had there at the end of the year, or what? He had one over the last 9 games.
Yep.
A big reason why I see his interception staying low is I think if he starts throwing a ton of picks, Stefanski will get him out. I'm not saying I think Baker's getting benched, but if for some reason he comes out and he's
not going to have a Jameis 30 and 30.
no, because Stefanski won't let him.
Right.
He won't be in there if he's throwing that. If he's
Yeah,
turning
he won't
the ball
allow
over
him to throw
much.
that many passes.
Yeah.
If he sees that's what's happening.
So I do think he keeps his turnover numbers down either because he's playing really well or because Stefanski reels him in and doesn't even.
Well, the
give
nice
option.
thing too is if things go off the rails a little bit in the passing game, we have something that Jameis didn't in his 30 interception year, and that's a very good run game.
There's two of those guys back there.
Yeah.
2 of those.
All right. Well, hey, that's a good way to get it started. Fireworks
prediction.
early.
We
Right
said
there.
bold predictions, and I've been saying for a while though, I'm feeling some MVP talk for Baker this year.
What do you got, Justin? You
All
look like
right.
you want to go next.
I was gonna say Browns are gonna win the Super Bowl, but that's too easy. It's just too easy. So
You just took mine, so.
yeah, no, hey, I'm gonna have a crazy one for my Browns one. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Jadeveon Clowney will have more sacks than Myles Garrett.
Oh my God! We said bold prediction, not stupid.
Here we go.
So I think that Myles Garrett's gonna still see a lot of those double teams. It's gonna give Clowney a lot of opportunities. A lot of
Okay.
opportunities. I mean, that's all I got. That's the bold.
See, I don't know if I can get behind that one because I think Myles Garrett's going to have 20 sacks, and I don't think
Clowney's gonna have
Clowney.
21.
Is that your bold prediction?
No, I
Okay.
don't think that's a ball.
give-
I don't think
yeah,
him
that's
getting
a-
20 sacks. I mean,
That's a very reachable. That's a very.
Yes.
Isn't the record
Reasonable.
22?
22 and a half by Shanahan.
not Shane.
Strahan.
Yeah. Another guy.
I see. Like, I think a 20 sack season for Miles is very doable. So to me, that's not a bold prediction. Now Clowney, who's never had 10,
getting 21. That'd be a bold prediction.
That's a bold prediction.
Mark it down.
Okay.
I do think that Clowney gets to the 10 mark for the first time in his career if he stays healthy.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, I mean, really, this guy is the limit for him because guys aren't going to key in on him as much as they are going to on Miles. And Miles has got the ability to just take over a game and, completely wreck the other team's game plan. Clowney had that talent coming out. That's what everybody thought Clowney was Myles Garrett before Myles Garrett, So it's going to be interesting.
I think the first so many games before Miles got COVID last year, he was having one of like a Khalil Mack type season where he just dominated every game. You had to block, know where he was every time.
It's crazy.
Put 3 guys on him.
He was the only guy coming.
Yeah.
Like, hey, all we got to do is just lock in on this one guy.
The first half of the season last year, it was like, I remember texting being, if Miles doesn't make a play, nobody does.
Yeah.
And he just kept making them. Mm-hmm. So if he can do that for a full season, I think 20 is well in reach. I don't know if Clowney gets to 20, but I think if he stays healthy, he can definitely get to 10.
I would love to see it. I would love both those guys in double digits. It's going to be a very good year for our defense.
Yes. I just think we're so much better in the back end, too, that quarterbacks are going to have to hold on to the ball longer.
Absolutely agree with that.
So,
absolutely agree with
which
that.
is going to give Miles and Clowney more time to get home. So what about you, Zach?
You want to go last, huh?
Yeah, I'll go last.
Okay. I'll say my bold prediction is JOK wins Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go Defensive Rookie of the Year to JOK. I think he plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, falling into the second round. A lot of teams giving up on him because of his health issues. Obviously, he's going to have to stay healthy too, but I think he's going to be maybe not the first couple games of the year as they're kind of finding the way to work him in, but I think, 4 or 5 games into the season, he's going to be on the field a majority of the defensive snaps. So I think, he could lead rookies in tackles, maybe even tackles for losses. I see him, being able to be athletic enough to get into the backfield. He comes in, I think he's like 4th or 5th best odds to win that award. So it's not like, it'd be this huge surprise, but knowing kind of his backstory on how he fell in the second round, I think it'd be a big story.
I think it's crazy. He's still 4th or 5th best odds.
Yeah.
I think the reason he's probably that low is they just don't know how much we're gonna work him in at least early. If you're gonna win Defensive Player of the Year, he probably needs to be a big time contributor pretty early in the season because there's gonna be some rookie on some team out there that starts game 1 and plays the whole time, and like an Antoine Winfield.
Yeah,
J.C. Horn.
So some names that are ahead of him, in the betting lines of who's going to win that award. You got like Micah Parsons, who's obviously going to play
Dallas,
almost every snap for Dallas. Jalen Phillips, Kwity Paye, Jamin Davis, and then Patrick Surtain is right there in that group.
Where's J.C. Horn? What happened to him? Is he hurt?
What's going on? He's on the list. He's a little further down, but that we haven't heard big things, and you don't really hear much about the rookies yet. It'll be. I was listening on my way in to the studio today about a bunch of people like raving about some rookies and being like they've done really good and under the big lights, and the guy was on the radio show was like, these aren't the big lights, these are like flashlights. The big lights come in a few weeks when it's the big boys and the NFL starters are on the field. You might look great in preseason and you get out there week 1 and you look like a fool. And hopefully it's not that way for anything on the Browns, and we make some of the other rookies look like that. Maybe, but J.C. Horn, I'm still a fan of his.
Yeah.
So I like Zach's bold prediction. I think I think it's very much in grasp. Off topic real quick, just based on what he was talking about with rookies and the big lights and stuff. I was watching the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Cowboys. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think Trevor Lawrence might be the quarterback I'm the most worried about to succeed in the NFL, and it has nothing to do with how good he is. It's how bad I think Jacksonville's coaching and offensive line is. because I watched the game and that guy he's so good.
Okay,
but he just has the biggest uphill climb in my opinion.
Is this your hot take?
So
No.
he just
I just went off on a tangent. It just
literally.
me.
I'm not even lying. I'm not lying to you. You can even look it up on what I was looking up. My NFL take. You just kind of spoiled it. I think Urban Meyer is fired before the season's over. And Jacksonville.
So we're gonna we'll get to that. We'll come back to that.
Oh my!
But I just want to I just think Trevor Lawrence. I think he is super good.
Yep.
But I just think he is. I mean, he's in a bad spot, and I just hope they don't ruin him.
When you get picked number one overall, man, you're going to a bad situation.
Yeah, we've seen
Baker
it with
came to crap in Cleveland. It's what happens to these number one picks.
It's just I hope they don't ruin him because I think he's super good, but it just doesn't look good.
It happens to more guys than
right.
So
what's your bold prediction for the Browns?
My bold prediction for the Browns kind of it correlates with Josh's. I think Odell has a huge year.
I was wondering if anybody was going to say, because if I was bold predicting that Baker has this huge explosive year, somebody's got to put up those stats.
My bold predictions is that Odell he's back to like New York, like 1,400 yards, 10 plus touchdowns, and like Odell's back. Like that's my bold prediction. Because Baker looked real good last night again without him. And I am one of those people that doesn't think he's better without Odell because he's forcing it to him. I think he played with Odell under Freddie where our offense was trash. And then he played with Odell when nobody really knew the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to come in, play with a Baker, second year in the system, leaner, we talked about he looks like Oklahoma Baker. I think Odell is going to have a monster year.
Now, my only, my initial hesitancy to like jump in and really agree with you on this is I feel like Odell's probably going to have a slow start to the year just because he's coming off that injury. I think they're going to ease him into it. He's probably going to be on a snap count. I don't know.
I don't know if he's here's the thing: if the doctors clear him, then he should be good.
Yep. I know, but these guys coming back from that kind of injury, it seems like there's usually a little bit of a period where they kind of get eased into, back into the fold. Now, we haven't seen him on the field in preseason, so maybe through training camp and practices and stuff, maybe he is up to game speed and he's ready to rock and roll. But I've got a little bit of like, I'm not hating on Odell. I'm just kind of tempering my expectations for maybe like the first 2 or 3 games.
Well, even if he's on a snap count those games, with 17, so let's say he's on a snap count 3. So he's got 14 games. It's 100 yards a game for 14 games. I think he can do that.
So do you think he misses 0 games this year for the first time in, would it be ever?
I'm calling it.
I'm calling it. Calling his shot.
But with the Odell thing, so did you see his catch in pregame?
No.
Yeah.
Awesome. I saw that.
Sick, one-handed catch. He looks like he's ready to go.
Yep.
He does. He looks like he's ready to go. It's just, will they
and I think
have the rein? Will they let him loose?
I think he knows that he has to have a big year. Like he knows he can't keep living off the reputation of one catch forever. Like he's eventually got to have another good year, and I think he knows that.
And then let's think about that. Obviously, he wants to win a championship. He's been pretty vocal about that, but let's say he doesn't want to be in Cleveland, right? Let's say like he's got to play for this year for, years to come. Otherwise, people are going to write him off and be like, you're not worth it anymore. If it's beyond Cleveland, obviously we don't want to see that happen, but this is one of his years where it's like your next contract might not be, $5 million.
Yeah. If you can't stay healthy. Well, those are our Browns predictions. Let us know what you guys think. Leave a voicemail, comment. I'm sure some Ravens fans out there will have crap to say.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to move on to our league predictions now, our league bold predictions. Let's just go in the same order. So, Josh, you can go ahead and go first.
Okay, I'm going to go out and say that year 2 in the Bruce Arians system down in Tampa Bay, Tom Brady has his Peyton Manning year and breaks Peyton Manning's touchdown record this year. 56 touchdowns.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he had 40 touchdowns last year.
What? How old? 43?
40. I got him up here. 44 right now.
Age doesn't matter, bro.
44.
Not with that dude.
Tom Brady put up 40 touchdowns last year, and I wish I had all the stats prepared for this, but I know that there's a history of Bruce Arians with his quarterbacks, and typically what it's been is the first year quarterbacks in his system, he's not very good. Throws a lot of picks, it's just kind of a difficult thing to grasp. Second year in the system, the quarterback historically has had a great season. Big yardage, big touchdowns, low interceptions. Tom Brady started out last year kind of slow, wasn't throwing a ton of touchdowns, had some picks early in the season. The second half of the year, Brady picked it up. He already caught on.
I felt like last year he kind of told Bruce Arians, hey, man, I'm just going to go out here and run hurry up offense and let me do my thing, bro.
My rebuttal to that is I don't know if they run Bruce Arians' offense.
Or Tom Brady's offense.
I think they run Tom Brady's offense.
Well, then Tom Brady's offense will get him 56 touchdowns.
It's a lot of touchdowns. Here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because Tom Brady just keeps doing crazy things.
Well, he had a great year last year, and he played with a torn knee the entire year.
That's true.
New team, new system, new coaching, no off season. I mean, it was just crazy what he did last year.
I mean, in the Bucs team, let's think. He couldn't have went to a more talented team almost offensively around, right?
To Cleveland.
Mike Evans, Godwin.
Antonio
still
Brown.
got O.J. Howard.
Yep.
They got a good tight end. Cameron Brayton, not a slouch tight end for them. Gronk, they bring him in. Running back wise, they bring in Fournette. They got Ronald Jones.
Yep.
They're loaded with talent down there, so he should be successful.
All right, who's next? Justin?
All right, so mine, I'm going to say that the Washington football team wins a not great NFC East.
Okay.
But here's where the bold prediction takes on. I'd say they go to the playoffs and they knock off like a Green Bay or a Tampa Bay. They knock off a big dog heavyweight.
Okay.
I'm not saying they win.
Fitzmagic gets his first win.
There's something special about that dude. All he does is go out there and just sling the ball around, and they have a legit defense. I don't want to crown them, but like
they could
their
be the
front
best.
Seven is nasty.
Could be the best defense in football.
Absolutely
at year's end.
Yep.
Chase Young, another guy who's super talented. He just has to stay healthy as well.
Montez Sweat on the other side.
Yeah, he was kind of injured last year. Was it in the Browns game that he got injured, or did he play?
I think he got
hurt in the Browns game.
Hurt in the Browns game, and then it lingered pretty like almost all year long, where he was in and out. So if he can stay healthy, that defense is scary good.
Yep, and they're offensively, there's talent.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson is kind of turning into like a CMC type of a back, where they're just like, hey, we're going to try to get you 1,000 and 1,000, type of a thing. Terry McLaurin's really good.
Yep.
To be honest, probably one of the most surprising Ohio State Buckeyes for me personally. I can be honest, I really didn't think he was going to amount to a whole lot in the NFL. The guy's a stud. Yeah. Clear number one wide receiver.
Yep.
So I like it.
Yeah.
Definitely got a good chance to win that division.
The division's a toss-up.
I think They definitely think they can win the division, and I watched them give the Buccaneers all they could handle last year
with a backup
quarterback, and the backup quarterback was awesome.
You like the backup?
He was fun to watch.
I almost feel like he's got
right?
a shot to kind of come in, because I feel like Fitzpatrick gets benched at some point every year.
Oh, I don't think he gets benched in that situation.
You think?
Here's the thing. It just depends on it.
He was playing really, really well last year.
Yeah, but we've seen him do that throughout his career, where he plays really well, and then he starts to suck.
He wasn't sucking last year, bro. That was, hey, we got to figure out what we have going on here.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if you look at his history, he never plays at a high level for long stretches.
I'm saying he makes the stretch one more year.
So, but I think it's a bold prediction that could definitely come to fruition.
Yes.
It's definitely not outside the realm of possibilities. I could see this happening.
Now, in that division, I don't know why, but I do think the Cowboys are going to have a good year this year. Obviously, people have to stay healthy for all these things that we're talking about to happen, but another team that's loaded offensively. Yep. That's going to be a team that, like the Washington football team, has to just slow down. Yep. Because obviously they got some talent on offense, but they can't keep getting a scoring fest with the Cowboys. That type of stuff.
All right,
so Blake, what do you got?
Are we going to touch on yours real quick?
Yeah, we'll go mine. So I think Jacksonville's preseason, there's been a lot of hype, and all they've done in the preseason is play their starters every game, and nothing's gotten better.
Except for they look good against the Cowboys.
Okay, so
the Cowboys played no starters.
No starters. And, there were some people talking about that they thought, the Jaguars finally looking good. No, the Cowboys played third-string people. I think that the Jaguars aren't going to want to wait because they know that Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent, and he's shown that, even in glimpses in the preseason, even though he hasn't looked great at times. I just don't think that they want to waste time. I think Urban Meyers hasn't done a great job so far proving that he's going to turn the franchise around. I don't think that they can see it, it's right there, everybody. And I think that's my bold prediction. He could be gone. If they are sitting at 0-6 or 0-7, I think you're going to start hearing whispers that there were people thinking he was going to win, not 10 games. I'm not saying, but they thought he'd go out and win 5-6 games this year.
I love Urban Meyer. Obviously, big Buckeye fan and all that stuff, like we are, but he does not look like he knows what he's doing in the NFL.
Yeah, their play calling is not great.
And I get that it's preseason, and you don't want to show stuff, but if you got your starters out there and you're trying to figure out what you got in some of these guys and try to get it going, they just don't look like it's working.
I don't think he gets fired during the season, though. I think if they go the whole season and it looks like a dumpster fire for the whole year, and then they go into the offseason, they've won 1 or 2 games. One, I could see him getting fired then, or I could see health issues coming up and he steps away.
Okay, I could see that.
You know what I mean?
Because it's happened before.
Yes, I just don't know if I don't think they'll fire him. I think even though he hasn't done it in the NFL, he has earned the right for one full season.
Well, and he's got this stigma too that he's kind of got to live up to. Okay, so if he comes out and they win 2 games this year, and something crazy, they only win 2 games, and he's got kind of this Chip Kelly, Nick Saban, one of those college coaches that just couldn't cut it in the NFL. He'll be put, right in that group. And maybe it's that he needed one more season or stuff. I just don't think Jacksonville wants to wait. Not with the talent that they got there right now. And there's going to be other veteran coaches out there that are a little more proven that are going to be willing to come work with Trevor Lawrence. In the Travis Etienne, I would say that injury he could kind of fall back and be like, I lost my star running back. But you got James Robinson, who was a star running back. So we didn't really, me personally, didn't see the Etienne pick coming at all for that team.
Well, and you didn't really see, he barely played at all in the preseason. He had a couple carries total, but I didn't see star running back on the field.
They said in practice he was uncoverable and stuff like that.
I know. All those reports, and then it's here comes the game, and then it's, there's Robinson, there's Hyde.
Right.
Where's Etienne? Second stringers are in. Right. There's Hyde. Where's Etienne?
Could have used a really, really good offensive lineman. With that pick.
Yeah, because they got some wide receivers down there. They brought in Marvin Jones, and you got DJ Chark, and then they got the rook and Chenault from last year. So they got some weapons there. They cut Tim Tebow. They lost the star there.
They lost the star,
yeah. I don't think he wants to be at the end of the year. If they waited till the end of the year, I don't think he wants to be sitting on 1 or 2 wins. Especially because I think that there was some thought that they were going to, not maybe compete to win that division, but they weren't going to, Houston obviously is way down.
Yeah.
Because of everything happened there. And then you got, so Tennessee, and then you got Indies, and they don't have a quarterback right now.
Yep. Roster-wise, though, I think they could trot out me or you and probably still beat Jacksonville.
Right, but I think that they thought, I thought that they thought they were going to be competitive in the division.
At least give people games.
Yes, they were going to start to be, that 5-6 win type of a team and be like, hey, we're right there turning the corner.
That should, even if you lose 12 or 10 games or whatever in those, even in your losses, you looked okay.
Yeah.
And in your wins, he was like, oh, these guys can do something. I don't think he gets fired in the season, but does he only last 1 season? Possibly. I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
So that brings us to my bold prediction.
Yep. Close us out with your
my bold prediction
fun one.
is based on a recent trade. I say that at some point this season, Gardner Minshew's the starter in Philly.
Okay. So, this has been, you're not the only one.
No, I'm reading an article right now that says, they brought, it's not crazy to think that even if he doesn't replace him this year, Minshew will be the starter next year.
So they didn't have to give anything really up. It was a fifth or a sixth. It was a sixth-round pick unless Minshew plays 50% of the snaps in 3 games, more than 50% of the snaps in 3 games or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and then it's a fifth or something.
Right, yeah, then it's a fifth. So still nothing for a guy that could be your starting quarterback at some point in the season. Jalen Hurts, obviously I got to watch him at Oklahoma for a year. He's not a great thrower of the football. He was a throw for 150 yards, run for 150 yards type of a quarterback in college. He was that way at Alabama. So I don't know. Maybe his game's not going to translate to the NFL.
Here's the thing. You got to be able to throw the ball well in the NFL as a quarterback unless you were Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And Hurts can run and he can move, but nowhere near like Lamar.
No.
So Lamar gets away with being just okay at throwing because he's so dynamic running. Jalen Hurts is dynamic, but he's not anything that the league hasn't already seen.
I think you're going to see too many of those games where Jalen Hurts is 9 of 18 for 101 yards, and that's the type of stat lines he's not going to go out there and throw 25 of 30 for 304 touchdowns. That's just not. I don't think that's the quarterback he is.
To put this in perspective, he played in 4.5 games last year, averaged 70.7 yards per game, a 77 QB rating. Gardner Minshew, for their career so far, has completed 62.9%, so 63% of his passes, 37 touchdowns, and only 11 picks for a passer rating of 93.1. Fun stat of the day, Gardner Minshew has the highest passer rating of any quarterback drafted in the draft that he was picked in, including Kyler Murray.
Wow.
Well, that's the Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins draft, so the competition is fierce.
But Kyler Murray is considered,
he's
39 in the top 100.
Yeah.
Elite.
As comparison, Jalen Hurts, and I know it's small sample size, but was only 52% of his passes with 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and a passer rating of 77.6.
And I think if you look that up, Jalen had one really good game. That's
300 yarder.
Yeah, that's skewing those stats.
He did have the longest or deepest depth of target of any quarterback last year. So he was constantly throwing the ball downfield, which those completions are. And
they brought in a wide receiver, right? They drafted Devontae Smith. So
So my thing with Blake's prediction though is that you said that if Gardner Minshew's not starting this year, he's starting next year. If Jalen Hurts doesn't pan out this year, that means Philly probably sucks, and they're drafting their quarterback next year. I don't think Gardner's. I think that he was brought in to be a backup.
I think Gardner Minshew can start in this league.
He can't start in this league.
Blake's always liked Gardner. He liked him last year.
He completes 63% of his passes, 37 touchdowns, only 11 picks.
See, but what
a 93 passer rating. Why doesn't the guy get a shot?
Why did Jacksonville? I don't understand why they traded him.
They traded because they know he's not. You're never going to play him over Trevor.
But if Trevor gets hurt, you need a competent backup, and all you got was a 6th-round pick. Why give him up?
Because I think they know he's not they're not going to.
I think they got rid of him knowing that if Trevor really struggled, that there was going to be people
calling for him.
People thinking, hey, maybe Trevor's not ready. Let's throw in Gardner. And
then all of a sudden you have a QB controversy.
And the front office was like, we're not dealing with that. We're shipping him out. We'll keep Jake Luton and whoever we are going to keep around down here.
And I'm not saying that Gardner Minshew is a top 5 or 10 quarterback in this league, but I think he can play. And to me, Jalen Hurts didn't show me anything last year to make me think he's a future franchise quarterback.
So obviously the Eagles still have Joe Flacco. So you think maybe cut day, you think he's gone?
I think they'll keep 3 at first because like this article says, Minshew's behind. He's got to learn the offensive system.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know what you're getting. Joe Flacco sucks.
He had one great year. I'll give it to him. He had one great year.
He's got a ring.
Yeah, one great playoff run.
Yep. but he sucks. And so you know what you got there. You know what you got. And he averaged 70 yards passing a game last year.
Yeah. I personally, I like Jalen Hurts. I hope that,
I think he's a good dude and he's a good leader, but at some point you have to be good at playing football.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he had more videos probably at Oklahoma of him lifting weights than throwing footballs. So that's the highlights you saw is how much he could, squat or bench. It wasn't,
and he looked
he's
great.
Throwing dimes out there on the practice field.
He looked great for Lincoln Riley, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
He's kind of a genius at that. So
they're going to have that, just so you know, maybe that if the Eagles are really bad, Spencer Rattler might be he's most likely going to be the number 1 pick next year in the draft.
I've watched him for a couple of years.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a big injury, that somehow derails his season, I think
or Joe Burrow comes out of the woodwork and has a phenomenal season.
Yes, that he is on his way, that whoever's tanking and going 0-17 this year.
Detroit, Houston
for sure.
One more point about Minshew. 497 career rushing yards also.
Man.
He runs the ball too.
So he runs
legs.
So he runs the ball. So he's at least a threat to run the ball.
I think you just liked his mystique and his look about him. I think that catches your eye.
I got caught up in Minshew.
The mustache.
You like that Uncle Rico look.
I'm a Minshew fan. He's funny. I think he's good. Also, he played for Mike Leach, who I think is hilarious.
Oh, I like Mike Leach.
So I've bought in, and like I said, he's not a top 5 quarterback. I'm not crazy, but I think he's accurate. He gets rid of the ball. He doesn't turn it over, and he is at least a little bit of a threat to run. So I think if Jalen Hurts comes out and isn't good, he's going in. Or Jalen Hurts runs and gets hurt, and then he comes in and doesn't give it up.
Yeah, going to be interesting.
Yep.
So that's
we're only 10 days away from the start of the season here, so
it's going to be exciting.
So
that first game is going to be the first game is a lot of stars.
Yep.
A lot of stars in that game.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm like Bart Scott. Can't wait.
Can't wait. One of my favorites. One of my favorite NFL lines ever.
Where's Sal Paolantonio? Can't wait. All right. So that's it, right? We're going to wrap this thing up. So those are our bold predictions league-wide. Let us know what you think. And if you're a Minshew hater, save it. I don't care. Thanks for checking out another episode of The Dawgs. Big thank you to everyone who stuck with us through a long off season. Only one more week until the Browns are back in action for real. We can't wait. I don't know what we're going to do next week. It's going to be really boring for one more week.
Well, we got to talk about the Chiefs next week.
Okay. So we'll bring you guys some Chiefs preview next week because we got a real football game in 2 weeks. I can't wait. Let us know what you think about the Browns heading into week 1 and our bold predictions. Let us know what you think about our league-wide bold predictions. To all you Dog Pack members, we'll see you over on the After Hours show. To everyone else, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast and become an official Dog Pack member at jointhedawgs.com.
It's not good, man.
You can't miss extra points when you're a team that has Super Bowl aspirations.
He's still on their team, Justin.
Okay, never mind. Well, who's the other guy?
It's the Pinheiro guy or whatever, wasn't it?
Eddie Pinheiro was a guy that was. I'm going to look up his stats real quick.
There was the guy who was in competition with Blankenship in Indy, who hadn't missed a single kick, but they cut him because Blankenship's good. That we need to be looking at that guy.